Hello, ladies, and without further ado, my husband, Louis Shine. Bye, guys.
Hey, what's going on, ladies? Hope you all are doing well. I love my wife, man. Full of energy. But, hey, I'm so excited to jump on with you all tonight. I've been watching my wife do her 7-day challenge for a couple years now. 1 year, we were actually still dating a month from being engaged, and then last year we were actually married. So yeah, I've been seeing her do this, and it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing because I'm talking not out of a biased heart, but I've seen her pour out herself to ladies, young women, and just giving of herself. And it stems from her taking time. If you all have read her book, her taking time in her life, about a span of about 10 or so years where she was single, and she really walked that thing out. And I know at times it wasn't hard, but as she went, she gained momentum in that, and it got easier. And there was just things that God took her through and things that she learned along the way. And so a lot of this stems, the movement that you all are a part of, stems out of, the things that, she's walked through. And it's not to say that she knows it all, but, she's sharing of her heart, what she's went through so that other people can get blessed. So I have 5 things I want to talk about tonight. First, I just want to talk about the journey of being single. Me and my wife, we both had different types of journeys. And, mine was, I guess, not as long lived as hers because she was, single for a long time. But, I got to a point, actually, before I met her, that within myself, I just wanted to, kind of give up my pursuit of marriage in terms of trying to do it myself. And so I got to a place where I was like, you know what, God, I'm not dating anymore. I'm not trying to find that person. And let me specify this too. It may be people that's listening that you're not trying to be married. You're happily single. There may be people that want to be married. I'm going to kind of talk from both sides so I can try to make sure I cover everybody. So, but with my story, I just got to a place where I was like, you know what, I'm tired of trying to figure it out, because I spent years trying to figure it out. I spent years dating people. I spent years trying to do it myself, and I just couldn't do it anymore, So it was like the moment I decided to surrender and say, God, I'm just going to focus on my life. I'm going to focus on you. I'm going to focus on this job, which was coaching at the time. And I'm going to let you bring that person. And if it takes forever, that's great. But I'd rather wait forever and allow God to do it than me try to continue to grind it out and try to make it happen, and date after date and, person after person. It just wasn't fun anymore for me. And this kind of happened for me when I was 38 years old, although I was believing for a wife for a very long time. But it was those single years, honestly, that I really had to myself. Those single years that I had an opportunity to know who I was. The single years I had an opportunity to seek God with all my heart, and I did that. And so over that time of being single, I got in touch with who the Lord was. I got in touch with who I was. So, inside of me, I developed standards. I developed things that even when a relationship came, I knew there were things that I didn't want. I didn't want to go into situation type things. And so then you find out what God has put you on the planet for. It's better to find out what you're here for and who you are than to try to do that within a relationship. And now you have to do that as well as take care of the home, and you have to tend to the needs of your husband and things like that. And so that's why I think that, this challenge, my wife's book, any materials that you all have gotten a hold of, it is very important right now that you embrace your season right now. So if you're single and you're satisfied, if you're single, you want to be satisfied, you're working on it, work in progress, wherever you find yourself, man, I'm telling you, now that I'm married, I'm happily married. Don't get me wrong, but I can see the more why in my singleness I needed to embrace it even more. Like I felt like I did a decent job, but even the more, because if you're the person who wants to be married, you definitely have to be in a place where you're whole when you get married, because the enemy is real and he throws a lot of different things when you're married that when you're single, you don't get different types of challenges, or whether it's between the person, whether it's in your mind. And so knowing who you are prior to a dating relationship or a marriage is so important. So it is so important to become single and satisfied, embrace your single season. Because it's a challenge to kind of convey the zeal that I want to tell that to you on this side of things to somebody that hasn't been there, but I'm trying to do my best. It's prepare as much as you can. Get it. If you want to be married one day, take your time, learn, get in classes, go to marriage seminars. When I was single, I used to go to marriage conferences as a single person, and I would go and just soak up wisdom and soak up knowledge like a sponge. I would go to marriage classes at church just because I wanted more knowledge, because I knew I wanted it one day, and whether it was close or whether it was far off, I knew I wanted it. And so I took time at a young age. I'm talking about, these are college years. I went to like a marriage conference in college. I went to Charlotte with a married couple, and I soaked it up. I just soaked it up, and it was amazing. And so, take that time now. And let me tell you this too. If you're wanting to be married one day, and you're in your single season, preparation time is never wasted time. And I got that as a whole different category, so I won't go all the way into that. But in your preparation time, that's really a faith act unto God. And that's like you saying to God, hey, God, I trust that you're going to bring that person. So I'm going to prepare. I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to prepare financially. I'm going to prepare, in terms of just keeping myself whole and pure and just getting a mindset about it. And I'm going to seek you, God. I believe that you're going to do that for me. So that the single season, it is one of the most critical seasons in your life, because here's the thing. You're called to what God has called you to first. And then let him do marriage. Let him bring the right person in his time. But get in faith about it. And one of the best ways you can get in faith about it is to start doing things that directly says to him that you believe that he has you. So prepare yourself. Get your prayer life right. Serve in the house of God. Go about your dreams. Do what you want to do. Like travel. Live. Don't. I'm not saying this is anybody, but don't hinge your life upon having a man. One of the best things one of my pastors told me was live your life. Like don't just sit around. Go live. Like, do you travel? Study abroad. Like, go find family. Whatever that X is for you, that variable, fill in the blank. Go and do that. All right. So, being single, let it be the greatest thing right now that can define your life. Just live, love life, love God, enjoy God, friendships. Just live it up. In the name of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And let him take care of the other side of it if you want to be married. And of course, if you're not married, you don't want to be married, I'm sorry, then live life. Enjoy your singleness, because it's some of the greatest years of your life. And I'll be honest with you, in my singleness, that's when I realized what I wanted. Like I had a lot of nights where, I didn't go out, I didn't club, I didn't do any of those things. I had a lot of nights by myself. I remember the first time that I was content at going to the movies by myself. Like, it's almost like you want somebody there, and you feel like, out of my close circle, I was like the last person to get married, and so it was kind of like, man, like, there was times where it was like, man, man, Lord, where my wife at? Where my wife at? But that changed for me. And I began to enjoy myself. And I can tell you this. I remember one time I was in Charlotte, and I was boo-hooing to one of my boys. Like, listen, guys, they boo-hoo to each other sometimes too. I'm like, man, bro, like, man, where my wife at, man? I'm trying to, I would love to hang out with somebody, whatever. He's like, man, you need to cut that out. He said, man, you got a good job. You got a car, company car, getting paid good money, got a new place. Man, go out and get yourself a meal and sit there by yourself and watch yourself a game. Like, and it took him to tell me. I was like, man, you know what? You're right. Like, why am I sitting here? I have a great life. Life is good. Like, you know what I'm saying? So don't despise your blessings, or don't despise where you are, ladies, because right where you are could be training ground for where you're going, whether it's your purpose, whether it's your the marriage that God, that is before you. That's coming for you. Like, don't despise this time. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Because I'm telling you, if you don't, when you get married, there's going to be situations, circumstances, trials at times that will come along to show you how much you should have prepared. Like, it's just the nature of it. And I'm not saying it's all bad or anything, but that's just the nature of marriage. And so take it from, I'm married, my wife's married. It's the truth. I mean, it's not... it's just how it is. Can you tell us how you knew the one for you? Brenda, thanks for asking that. I'll answer that question, and then I'll go into the other things that I want to talk about. For me and my wife, for me, I'll just speak for me because I know she can speak for herself. During my single years, there's things that for you. Now, here's the thing. Like, God doesn't have like, ooh, this person, the one, whatever. Like, there's things that you like. Like, there's things that I liked. I knew I want somebody that loved to work out. I knew I wanted somebody who likes to have fun. And if you want that, then God wants that for you, because that's in the will of God. The only thing God doesn't want you to have is something that's outside of his will. So having fun, wanting somebody that works out, wanting somebody that loves to watch sports with me, or somebody that loves God, somebody that I can pray with, somebody that's pleasing to my eye. I want somebody that I can look at, for the rest of my life and enjoy. Like, hey, she's beautiful, that's okay. Don't ever let somebody tell you that, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you guys. Before I met my wife, there was a couple years before that where I dated somebody, and the person, for me, I didn't find them the most attractive. Now, that's to me, they were a decent looking person, but I was just like, nah, that's not really my type. But I listened to my friends, and my friends was like, oh, she a good woman. You should go ahead. That's a good woman. What you tripping, Lewis? And that really was a trap in disguise, because it sounds good. But I have to be the one that's going to be with her the rest of my life. I have to be the one that's going to wake up to her every morning. So I better be pleased, And here's the thing. Once you get married, like, you don't want to regret or feel like you're disappointed because, oh, man, I listened to them and this is not really what I wanted. And so God will allow you to have choices. Like, marriage is a choice. And so I knew with my wife, when she came, I saw things that I prayed for. And of course, I had to get the stamp of approval from the Lord. I checked my heart, for you who all that are Christians, the Holy Spirit will let you know, like, you'll feel, there's people I dated and it was like inside, it was like a red flag, like, There's people that I dated that I decided to make a committed relationship out of, and it didn't work. And I can remember way back before I even asked that person to be my lady, I can remember on the inside, it was like God was like, you could just feel it. Like, it's just everything on the inside of you just doesn't agree with the decision. And that's because God knows what you know before it happens. And so, you pray about it, you get your list, but at the same time, you check it with God, because he knows everything. He knows everything. So how I knew it was my wife, there was things I got a clear, everything in my spirit was clear. So after that passed the test, that was like, okay, that's it. So now when I drove 12 hours to meet her, of course, I knew she loved the Lord. I knew she checked those boxes, what we believe in, all that. So that was fine. So the next thing is, of course, I had to, love how she looked, love how she dressed, check those boxes. And then God started showing me things. I knew I wanted somebody with nice eyes. Like I'm an eye guy. Like I just like eyes, And then I always prayed for somebody that can sing. Like I just prayed. There's something that I love music, and I love when a woman sings. And I say, Lord, I want somebody that sings. And so the very same weekend where I came to see her, we were sitting at Chili's, which is one of our favorite restaurants, and we were sitting across from each other. And I was just sitting there. We were talking, and she was talking about music industry and things that she wanted to do. And I could hear it as clear as day. It was just like the Holy Spirit just whispered to me. It's like, he was like, look at her eyes. Like I could hear it, And I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh. Now I didn't say this out loud, but inside it was like, oh my gosh. Like I prayed for that. And then I could just hear on the inside, she sings too. And so for me, it was like, oh my gosh, and so I'm having this conversation on the inside with the Lord. And I was like, I forgot all about that. And then it was like, I could hear the Lord saying, but I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, Brenda, I believe it was, that's because it bear witness with things I prayed for, which I talked to God about for years. And so how you know it was the one, man, get close to the Lord. Because there's, like I say, he has to approve it, but he's going to give you choices. What do you want? Do you want a man that is a certain way or whatnot? Now, here's the thing. When you're close to the Lord, there may be some things that you might want, but God knows that that's just you. And he knows that he has something for you that you don't even know you want. But when you get it, you're going to love it. But you don't know that yet. And so that's what I'm saying. Like there's some variables in this thing where when you begin to trust God and let him lead you in some things, you'll get a package for you that's just like, you can't even explain it. And for me, for my wife, I can't explain that. Like it was amazing. It was all God. Like there's no part of it that I can take glory for. Yeah, I wanted this, and yeah, I came to see all those things, but God did it, and it's completely God. Like I could tell you guys several stories that it's just God. Like you can't even explain it, and that's the kind of relationship that you want. My iPad went off. I got to turn it back on to get to my notes, but that's what you want. You want God to do it, but it takes patience. I didn't get married till I was 39, but if you go by the world standard, 39 is, oh man, you old and this and that, whatever. We're just getting started. You know what I'm saying? So we believe the word of the Lord. My life is just getting started. But I'm glad I waited because I learned so many things. And it seemed like when I was coming last, God said the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So I'm glad I waited because I learned tons. So don't rush it, because I'm telling you, here's the thing. It seems like I waited a long time, but I'm telling you, when I look back, it seemed like 20 years old was yesterday. So looking at your situation moving forward as you grow in years, it seemed like forever. But I'm telling you, like, I wish I could get some of those years back. It's like 20 years went like that. And now I'm married. But on the other side of being married, it seemed like it was just taking forever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you this to be true. And you'll know, like, when you get married, you'll look back and say, man, he was right. Like, it may not seem like it now because you might have been through situations and relationships and different things like that. But I'm telling you, time flies, because when you get on the other side, it's like, my gosh, like, I should have took more advantage of my single years. I could have learned more. I could have saved more money. I could have positioned myself better, because marriage is a responsibility. It is not just flowers falling, like coming to America, on the path, and rose bearers and little baby angels flying by your head. It's just not like that. It's work, but for me, it's fun, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing, but that preparation time is never wasted time. And I'm hoping this encourages you, because it's true. It's really true. Here's the thing. One of the things that you can really grow in your singleness is a uncompromising stance. Okay, because here's the thing. As women, and I'm a guy, so I've been on the guy side of things. All right, I know how guys are. All right, guys can be a certain way just because they're a guy. All right, and what I'm saying in that is, as women, you know, guys are going to throw certain things at you. Guys play games. So I'm just being honest. I've been there. Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys tonight. But you want to grow an uncompromising stance about yourself, because when the counterfeits come, and please, if you're on here and you're not searching for a relationship, or you're not looking for one, you know, please forgive me, because I'm not trying to leave you out or whatnot. You know, I'll visit some things, but it's just on my heart to share this. My wife had an uncompromising stance. So to the point where the very first conversation that we had, we wasn't on the phone like 5 minutes. And she asked me, why should I allow you to interrupt my life? Like, okay, so because I've been preparing myself and I wanted marriage, that was like music to my ears. Like, it didn't run me away. Now, years before that, okay, well, not maybe. It wouldn't have ran me away, because I was just I was about the Father's business. I just was, you know. And some guys, that would run them away. It would run them away, because that's intimidating. That can be intimidating. The first question you ask when I get on the phone is, why should I allow you to interrupt my life? Oh, man. Now, for me, I was praising the Lord on the inside. I had to keep my composure, but I was like, there she go. This is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's my language right there. You know, and I don't think, to be honest, I don't think I answered the question directly, because it caught me off guard a little bit, but it wasn't a scary question. You know what I'm saying? So I was good. Like, I loved it. Like, the fact that she asked that question let me know. That was like, I know who she is. Like, I already knew she was beautiful. I seen her. But when she came like that, I was like, gas the car up. Let's go see her. All right. So, you know, when you have that uncompromising stance, to where my wife, she knew who she was. So it's like, I got a good thing right here. I don't need a guy. And as good as I feel like I was, like, man of God as I feel like I felt like I was awesome. It was like, if I didn't know who I was, that would have shrunk me on down. You know what I'm saying? But she knew who she was. And no matter how awesome I felt like I was, or how awesome I was in her sight, she had her standard. And so when she asked me that, it was just like, oh man, you know, hey, you talk my language, let's go. You know, that was that kingdom. It was like, okay, this is what I'm looking for right here. You know, that's what spoke to me. And ladies, like, there's certain things that speak to certain people. If she would have asked some other people that maybe haven't taken the time to get to know who they are, or if they would have showed up trying to play around, then that would have cut it all off right there, you know? Because I'll be honest, like, that question right there can break you up. It's just like, you know what, I ain't gonna talk to her no more. She for real. I ain't got time for that. But for me, I got time for that, because that's what I'm looking for. So anyway, she knew who she was, and she wasn't going to budge. Like, I saw that clear as day from the front. She knew she had things going on. She was about her Father's business. She knew who she was. She knew what her value was. And I could see all of that. I mean, the certain things we talked about, and starting with her asking that question and things like that, it just speaks. It says, I could write a book off of that. Maybe I should, but it just said a whole lot about her, because somebody that doesn't know who they are would never ask that question. But it took her time to grow in her singleness, seek the Lord, find out who she was, find out that she is whole by herself, that a man doesn't complete her. So if you don't come right, I ain't got time. And so the uncompromising stance, like, what are you about? You know, what is your life about? Are you about the Father's business? Because I'm telling you, if you're about the Father's business, he'll be about your business. So if you want to get married and you're spending your time being about the Father's business and spending time in his presence, in his word, and conforming to Christ, trust me, he got you. And you have to trust him that he does. Like, it's just, there's no way around it. If you take time to handle his business, he's going to handle your business. It's just the truth. So I would encourage you, ladies, have an uncompromising stance on whatever it is. If it's who you are, if it's somebody you're dating, if it's, premarital sex, have that uncompromising stance. Like, you never have to feel like you have to do something with a guy because you're going to lose a guy. I've seen that before. I've seen it in my own family. It's not the right way to go because it's only going down from there. But if you have that uncompromising stance, it'll chase people out of your life and bring the right people. I'm just being honest with that. One of the things that my wife would have an uncompromising stance on when we were dating, okay? And, like when you're dating, you just have all that time. You're so consumed with being on the phone every night, falling asleep. You're on the phone, next day texting them before work and talking all day. Like, it was just like that in the beginning, But she had this one night of the week that I was like, Lord, I need help with this. She was like, I got date night with Jesus. I think it was Wednesday nights. So when we talked we would either sometimes talk during the day, but most of the time when I hung up on Tuesday night, I knew I wasn't going to talk to her till Thursday. And boy, let me tell you, I was like, oh no, like it was like, I'm on a whole day and I can't talk to you. Like, I'll be honest, in the beginning, it was hard because it's like, man, you found the love of your life. And it's like, man, like, and then I can't talk to her for one day. But I'm telling you, it did something to me because it was like, man, this girl for real, man. Like, this girl's for real. But just to see her have that stance, and it was like she was about the Lord, whether I was in her life or not. She was going to have her time with the Lord. So me coming in her life didn't change her stance. Like, oh, I got a boo now. Lord, well, I just get my time in on the weekend. Nah, she was like, I got to have my date nights. And so for me, that further told me who this person was. Like, okay, yeah, this is who I want to be with. Like, cause she's serious. And you think sometimes that when you can have certain stances or you're about certain things that it can run a guy away. But I'm telling you, it will run the wrong guys. Or it'll bring the right guy into your life. So when I seen that about her, being a man of God, it was like, oh man, it was hard to be off the phone with her for a whole day. It felt like I was on a fast, but it was like, man, like, this is a real woman of God. This is what I've been wanting. She ain't playing with this thing. She trying to go after all the things that God had for her. To me, that's what speaks to me. And so I'm telling you, whatever you're about, whatever you entertain in your life, if you're about the things of God and you just stay steady, you don't have to change for no man. God will bring the one that loves who you are. He'll bring the one that loves what you're about. And I feel like that's what happened to me and my wife. Like, God knew how she was. He knew how I was. We love what we're both about. But if you let God do it, he'll do it. He will do it. And us meeting each other is a complete testimony. She said, not a fast, man. Listen, I'm telling you, it was almost as if I wasn't eating. Like, it was like, oh Lord Jesus, like, I can't wait to talk to her, you know what I'm saying? But so I got a couple more things I'll talk about. And please, if you have any questions, please ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. Honoring women. Okay. Honoring women. Now, I know any woman wants to be honored, even if it may not seem like it. God has wired you to be honored. Like, you're wired to be pursued. I enjoy pursuing my wife. I was glad to drive 12 hours on a moment's notice to see her after only knowing her for about a week. I had to come and see what it was about, because I was like, okay, I will come to you. You stay put. I will be right there. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's where the honor started. I went back to old school. Like, the old school is the woman ain't going to see the dude. Like, not the first time. the guy, you come and pursue, you come and see that woman, you come and check that woman out, go to that woman's hometown, show that woman that you want her, or that is something about her that you're interested in. Like that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's the honor. That's the honor about it. Women are wired. They want women. You guys or you ladies, that's how God made you. And so, you know, sometimes when it's flip side, that's why things feel weird sometimes and, you know, whatnot. But I just wanted to go back to old school, how I grew up, how I was taught. You know, I believe that's a guy's job to pursue. Okay. So I wanted to honor her. Okay. Another thing in honor. And here's the thing. I learned about these things. Like I learned about them. Like I availed myself to just information, you know. And here's the thing. Now I see your comment, Janae. And listen, this is not to say anything about any guys or whatnot, but I'm just gonna speak from the heart. A guy will tell you in his actions or what he says if he wants you or not. The thing that, like I said, I've had these things happen in my own family, so I'll kind of talk about them. But I've seen it to where guys are doing a woman wrong, or not calling back, or dating a couple women, or don't want to come see him, or just different indicators that should tell you, okay, he's telling me straight up that he may not be saying I don't want you, but he's telling me through a various amounts of opportunities that he's given, or I don't know the word for that, but the indicators that he's giving you several indicators that, okay, that is not saying that he cares for you or wants to marry you. It's just not saying it. As guys, we see it, you know, but as women, what I'm saying is when somebody tells you or shows you who they are, believe it. Believe it, you know, because here's the thing. Like, if you get caught up on games, then that person that's for you, okay, they not coming. It's just going to be delayed because God's not going to bring somebody in your life that is for you, that have their heart clear and no baggage and stuff together. But then the woman is over here kind of playing footsie with somebody that really don't care. You can't have your miracle and still mess around with the counterfeit or what's not for you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make decisions. And sometimes the decisions in the moment is hard. But if you could fast forward your life and look backwards, you'll say, you know what? I'm so glad I made that decision. And so sometimes it's hard to make those decisions. The guys deal with it sometimes too. But you just have to make those hard decisions, and it may seem like it's hard because you don't want to hurt the person or whatever, but you'll do more hurt to the person by waiting instead of ending a relationship that is not a good relationship. It'll be harder and harder, and it'll hurt worse. So sometimes you got to make the hard decisions. You understand what I'm saying? So, but honor. I remember telling my wife when we really got serious, and I knew that this is going to a serious place, I made a promise to her. I said, you know, we're not going to have sex till we're married. I told her that because I wanted to, and I purposely said it out loud verbally. Like, you could do it in your heart and just be like, you know, whatever. But it's a difference when you verbalize that. I wanted to verbalize it because I was serious about it. And so I verbalized and I told her, I want to honor you, and we're not going to have sex until we're married. And we did that. We didn't have sex till we're married. We didn't have intercourse sex. We didn't have oral sex. We didn't do it. You know, Brittany says, what does it mean when a guy calls you his best friend? Well, well, if he's your best friend and he's just strictly your best friend, then I think that sometimes guys can be iffy, and I guess this is why, as a woman, you just need to know what you're going to do, because until a guy verbalizes to you that it's different, don't think that it is. So if a guy wants to cross lines in some kind of way or tries to, you ought to not let them do that. You ought to not let them do it anyway until you're married. But, if you're growing with a guy and he's your best friend, but he's trying to have more than best friend benefits and wants to, parade you around like you're special, but you're really just a friend or a best friend, then it doesn't go together. I was really quick to, when I knew it, I think maybe the second or third time me and my wife seen each other, I asked her to be my lady. And I knew that in my heart, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that and then go backwards. I knew that if I did this, it was for good. And the next step was me proposing to her. So I didn't want to play with anybody's heart like that. That's why I wanted to make sure it was serious. So I think that's a loaded question. You could clarify if you want, but what it should mean if a guy calls you his best friend is you're his best friend. But if that grows into something, then heck, you have a great foundation. You marry your best friend. But if it doesn't grow into nothing and then you marry somebody else, that best friend, he ain't your best friend no more. Your husband be your best friend. So I hope I'm answering that. And then Tara or Tara, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. That's great. You went and seeked information and wisdom about marriage early on from mentors, conferences. Did you grow up around marriages in your family? Mom, dad, relatives. Let me try to hit this here. Hope you say because I'm curious about my sons growing up, not seeing marriages in the family. The good thing is when we are in church where they see a lot of marriages. So for me, I'll be honest, I had a lot of divorces in my family. But I also was around marriages in church. Like I was able to see that. My pastors, different men in the church. So even though I seen a lot of divorces in my family per se, I was able to be around relationships. So as far as your sons, definitely you have to get them around that kind of thing. Like in church, you go to church functions and, you have those different conversations with them. Fortunately for me, I had a lot of uncles. I seen healthy marriages. I seen unhealthy marriages. And for me, I just always told myself I didn't want to have a marriage like what I saw. But then I had good examples of those that I wanted it like. And it gave me hope that I could have a marriage that's built on the foundation of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that answers your question. So honor, a guy should honor you. If you don't see honor, then exit stage left, because it's not your problem that guy did not learn that. Okay. It's not your responsibility to teach him that. Okay. Because I tell you, those things that for me that were rooted in my heart, it took years upon years upon years. So to try to, I'm gonna have my uncle hang out with him or, like I'm gonna take him to church and hope he get around the men. It's tough like that because, and not to say that somebody couldn't pick it up, but you should be able to believe God for what you want and trust God to bring it. And it comes in a package versus you got to add water and add egg and flour and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ought to be able to believe God, and when it shows up, you can notice it. Like me, when I seen my wife show up, I knew, because that's why I prayed for her. And I wasn't compromising for anything less. I just wasn't. But like the honor thing, if a guy's not honoring you, you have to develop the strength to say no, to say I pass, to wait, to be patient and wait on the Lord, because if not, then there's just going to be fruits that happen in your life of dishonor. Like the person's dishonoring you, things happen, but you settle for that. Make sure a guy's honoring you. And a lot of times you can see honor in a guy's life, not only by the way he treats you, but the way he treats his family, particularly his mother, the way he serves at church and honors his pastoral leadership or his bosses or whatever, how he talks. You can hear those things. So honoring women, I just really wanted to make sure I honor my wife, and I wanted her to know that I honor her, because I told her. Like I didn't leave her guessing. I told her. You can ask her for yourself. Okay. Janae say, I'm a woman who has been absent for years, so of course I want my man to be abstinent. For years, I want my man to be as well. What if I meet the guy who says he would be abstinent for me? Do you think it will work out? Well, first of all, he should, okay, I wanted my wife to know that I wasn't being abstinent for her. I was being abstinent because I love the Lord. Like that is different, because a man can show up and say, oh, I'm going to do this for you, girl. You know, I'm going to be this way for you, girl. I'm changing my ways, girl. You know, you could be, it's a little dramatic, but you know what I'm saying. So if he's doing things for you, and if you look at right before you came, he was a different way, that should tell you, like, okay, is he changing because he wants me or he wants something? Or is this really who he is? And that's why in the beginning of a relationship, men or women, you can't rush it. You can't overlook things, because if you rush right into certain things, then your emotions are so tied into the person that now it's hard to back up when you see something that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we have to wait. And God will have us to wait, not to ruin our fun, but it keeps you safe. It protects your heart so that you're not in a situation now you feel stuck. Like, oh, I don't want to hurt him. Or, well, maybe he can change, or this and that. And you're stuck in this middle place. You know what I'm talking about? You want to wait before you open yourself up, before you give yourself to somebody, before you, and I'm not talking about give yourself to somebody sexually. Of course, that's marriage. That's what we believe. But I'm talking about open yourself up. Talk about deep conversations. And you know, even the smallest of things will open you up emotionally. You don't want to go there. You want to find out why this person is who they are. What is the why behind the what? Why don't they want to have marriage? Is it because they met you? I'm going to change now, which is possible, but you got to know their motive, because if they're doing it just for you, then they can change back because you made them mad or something or whatever. They'll turn and blame that on you. So the root of who they are shouldn't be in who you are, or it shouldn't be in you showing up. So I would take that with a grain of salt. I would honestly, if somebody say they'll be abstinence for you, I'll let that go in one ear out the other. And I want to see now. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I ain't going to give you a chance to, because we ain't going to be caught in those kind of situations. But I want to hear what you got to say about it. And you should be listening with antennas from here to Mars. You know? So, yeah, it can work out. But what I'm saying is, marriage isn't, or choosing somebody isn't so loose as we put it off to be. And I know my wife is watching, so please interrupt me if this gets long, because I love talking about this. So you have to, okay, if you had a child and you're choosing a school for them, or you're choosing things for them, you're going to pay attention to certain things. If job or important situations, important things in your life, you're paying attention to them. Choosing a car, whatever it might be, clothes, people can be particular about those things. If you can be particular about the things that might be going through your head right now as I'm saying this, the things that you are particular about, how much more should you be particular about who you choose for a mate? Because it's not just a guy choosing you, you're choosing that guy too, because you can't say no. So you have to develop in the single time that you're in. If that's what you want one day, marriage, you have to be thinking about those things. What do you want? What don't you want? So now when somebody shows up, some joker shows up at your front door, or in your life, and they're like, this way or that way. And you're like, I don't even want that, because that's not what I'm praying for. So since he's that and I don't want that, and that's one of them deal breakers, you can just check that. Like, hey, I'm not spending time with him like that. I'm not even going there, because I know I don't want that. And those absolutes in your life, those deal breaker kind of things, really comes from time and being by yourself and becoming single and whole. It really does. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, there is no way to get from here to the next city with that's two hours away and your tank is on E. you have to put gas in the car. There's no other way. Like, for you to become whole in your singleness and one day be prepared for somebody, there's no way around in getting the right person. There's no way around of developing those absolutes. So it comes by way of, messages in church, books, being around other godly married couples, going to conferences. Man, YouTube, there's tons of stuff on there you can just watch. When I ain't got the money to go, man, go to YouTube. Like, you can find, godly messages about marriage, and you develop these things. And maybe you've been in a household when you were growing up that was divorced, or maybe you had a good, model of marriage that was modeled out before you. Take those things, think about, take yourself on a walk. Like, what, Lord, I need help. Lord, what should I ask for in a marriage? Like, Lord, you created marriage, and then you created me, and you said that's something I can have. So Lord, help me to develop a mindset for what I like or what I should like. Like, I had to ask God some of those questions. Like, Lord, I don't really know about this. So Lord, help me to know what I should want. Like, what should I look for? And if I see that, should I go for that? Or like, how should I think about that? Like, you have to, ask those questions, and he's a big God. He can answer them. And I'm telling you, he answered them for me. He made them clear. Get those mentors in your life and here's the thing, you can't just leave it to happenstance. You have to on purpose get yourself in those atmospheres, go to those conferences, go hang out with an older married couple. Ask somebody to be a mentor. Ask a woman of God that's married and she appears to be having I say appears to, but you'll know by your spirit those who are really walking it out and they have a godly marriage. Ask that woman of God to be a mentor to you, to train you up how to be whole and single, and then how to choose somebody. My wife has a lot of material she puts on here, and I'm telling you, it's not just because she wants to sell books or throw something on here just to have a post and see if people like it. Like, it really comes from her heart. I'm around her every single day. So take these things that she's saying and ingest them, digest them, and really take them to heart. Because if you do, I'm telling you, it's principles. If you build yourself, if you become whole in who you are and know who the Lord has made you, it makes it that much easier when it's time to begin to date and begin to go that direction. And let me see here. I got one more here. I'll go over the preparation time is never wasted time. Okay. It is never wasted time. Sometimes, we can despise where we are and complain our way through, kicking and screaming, where my man? I'm tired of being single. And you can look at other people like, oh, they married, and woe is me. And those things aren't helping you. They're not helping you. They are not helping you. I wasted time doing that. It wasn't until I was like, you know what? Let me start preparing. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. I still needed preparation when I met my wife, but the preparing I did, it helped me. It really helped me because I felt like in a lot of ways I had more wisdom. I felt like in a lot of ways because I practiced patience and temperance in different areas with people and things like that. It helps me to practice that with my wife. Now, I'm not always like that, but I try my best to be like that as much as I can in situations where the situation doesn't call for patience. It's like, that's a situation where I ain't gonna be patient in that because I'm tired of that or whatever, or anything like that. What I'm saying is I practiced that in my life, before I met my wife. I practiced certain things with people. When I had to do certain things at church, when I didn't feel like doing it, I did it. Because here's the thing, when you get in marriage, I got to take care of my household as a man of God. I can't not do something because I don't feel like doing it. I have a mandate from the Lord to love my wife like Christ loved the church. He don't let us go without. I'm not letting my wife go without. I don't care what I have to do. That's just what it is. So in the preparation stages of your life, it doesn't mean that you're just in this course of like, okay, I'm in marriage 101, learning how to be a good person, to be a good wife so that my man can come. No, It's just you living your life and not even, you can believe God for somebody and not even be focused on like, I'm believing God for this, Lord. I want this, this, and that. I pray for, matter of fact, I'm praying for him, Lord. I just thank you that you'll bless him wherever he is in the world. Prepare him as a man of God and prepare him to be the man that you called him to be. And you pray for that person because God know where they at. He know exactly who you gonna marry. But develop a prayer life for yourself. Start praying for that person. That's part of the preparation. And then the Bible says that there's joy and peace in believing. So you're not going to be believing for a mate, but then you're going to be all stressed out wondering where they're at. No, it doesn't go together. When you believe God, then you'll trust him. As you get closer to him, you'll develop a trust in him. And now you're not even worried about it. You can freely live your life and still be in faith for your man of God. Brittany says, why do men stare at me and don't pursue me? Well, here's the thing. The real truth to that is it could be a lot of reasons. It could be reasons from they believe they like the way you look. It can be reasons that men are in lust where they're just looking at you for the wrong reasons. But don't let that be an issue to you though. Like, because the right one will pursue you. Like, so they want to look, let them look. And if they gonna look, pray the prayer like this. Lord, when they look at me, I pray that they see you, Lord. Like, if they gonna look, let them see the glory of God, and pray that God will honor that kind of prayer and they'll look at you and see the Lord, and whatever. But the right one will pursue you. Like, so I'm telling you, I am telling you, like, I know with my wife, it was what I prayed and it was a trigger reaction. Listen, I'm telling you, that's why you don't have to, Brittany and anyone else that may be listening to this, you don't have to worry about, because here's the thing, if you believe God, he's going to send you the man that's going to pursue you. Like, that may be probably one of the tricks of the enemy, especially with women. I've seen people, one of the tricks is, why don't they pursue me? What I'm saying is you don't have to even have that thought. You don't even have to go down that, well, why aren't they? Well, maybe it's something wrong with me. Well, what is it about me? Ain't nothing wrong with you. The one that's for you will pursue you. It was a trigger reaction. When I met my wife, I'm telling you, and I'm telling y'all this, I had told my mom, I said, you know what, Mom, we had a little break. I was coaching in South Carolina, and we ended up having a longer break than we expected. So it was like a week and a half. And Coach was like, go home, go see your family, do whatever. Y'all got some time off before we start practice, before the kids come back to school. And it was like, okay, cool. So, college, I was there, we had a little break, and I was just like, okay. And she let us know a little late. So like, to get a plane ticket, the plane ticket was through the roof. So I'm like, I wanted to come home and see my mom, but I was like, and then the drive was 12 hours. So I'm like thinking those through. I'm like, I'm not paying $1,000 for a plane ticket. And at the 12-hour drive, you know what? I'm just gonna hold back. I'm gonna chill on back here. You know what I'm saying? And so at the time I was talking to my wife, but then as those 2 or 3 days start stringing together, now let me give you a good picture. The first time I talked to her, and babe, if you're on here, correct me on the date. I still got a screenshot it, so I know what it is. I just can't recall. But I think it was like July 28th or something like that when I first made connection with her, like 28th, 29th, July. I had inquired about her like on the 26th somewhere. So it was like a few days before I actually made contact with her, okay? So from like the 29th of July to like August the 3rd or something like that, 3rd or 4th up in there, we was having these conversations, like, and I'm like, okay, so every night it's like, get off the phone, like, woo, okay. And so it was during those conversations, I had told my mom, I was like, I'm probably just going to stay here, Mom. You could come down here. I'll fly you down here whenever you're ready to come, but I'm going to probably stay on down here. Ticket's a little too high. As those conversations started growing, we're getting like August 4th. I told my mom I wasn't coming. August 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere up in there. It was getting so serious for me that it was like, okay, this thing's special. Charbria special. This girl's special. This is, this it right here. But I knew for me, I did the long distance thing. I knew for me in the point of my life, I wasn't going to do that. And I knew that if I would have stayed in South Carolina and didn't go and see her during this break, this is kind of how I was thinking. I was like, I'm ready to start the season. I'm about to get busy. I ain't doing the long distance thing. So I'm not about to keep talking to her on the phone. Like, that's just what kind of I wanted, because I was just at that place in my life. You know, I just didn't want to have a long distance. If it was going to be somebody I was going to be with, I just wanted to get about it, you know, and I wanted to know what something is. And for me, I'm a filler. So I need to be around somebody in person. I'm not going to do the virtual thing. I need to be around you. I need to look you in your eyeballs. I need to see what you're about. I need to see what your surroundings about, who you are. You know what I'm saying? I need to see if you're praising God at church. You know, like, I want to see who you are. You know, that's how I am. So, as it began to get serious, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not going to buy a ticket, and I told my mama that I'm not coming home. Man, I got to go see who this girl is. She's special. So on August 10th, I got in my car and drove 12 hours to see her. It's a trigger reaction. It's not if you have to wonder why a guy doesn't pursue you, he's not for you. You ain't gotta, because if he wants you, he's going to pursue you. Like, it just comes with it. Okay. She says, specify what a filler is. Like I do good. If I can get in the atmosphere with you, like, I want to take you out to eat. I want to sit across from you and talk to you. Like, I want to feel your vibe. I want to feel what kind of vibe you're giving off. I want to see if you're feeling my vibe. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how in person, there's just things that's communicated that you may not even be saying. And if you're in tune with the Holy Spirit and you have discernment, you develop that, you'll know, I could be honest. Maybe that year before I met my wife, I went out on dates and stuff. And there were some people I went out on dates, and not that they were bad people, but it was just like, that's not, nice people, good looking people. But it was just like, something. It's just not, it's not to say they were bad, but it's just not, the chemistry wasn't right, or it was just something, we didn't flow, whatever. Me and my wife met each other, man, we kicking and having fun, playing arcade games. The sense of humor was there. It was just there, And when I say it was just there, there was something, I could point out some things that were there, but there was just something there also that you can't explain. You can't put a title on it, but I know myself, I do best with that when I'm around somebody, So babe, I hope I explained that for you, or for the ladies in here. Brittany asks, why do men always talk about a lot? Well, I'm not sure of that question, but I know I like to talk about a lot. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. If you could explain a little, deeper, that I can definitely try to answer that. It could be a good thing. If you get a man that talks about a lot of things, it could be that they're comfortable around you and they love to talk to you. It could be that they're deflecting the truth and they're trying to cover up who they are by conversation, which the Bible talks about that too. You have good conversation. You got, you're trying to make it sound like you're a certain kind of person, or you've had experiences to make you look good or something. I don't know the nature of your question all the way. I hope I answered it though. Oh, why do men talk about sex a lot? Well, it depends what kind of man you're talking about. When me and my wife got married, we talked about sex and we talked about the boundaries of sex. That was our conversation about sex. The next really detailed sexual conversations we had were in marriage counseling. So we really didn't go a whole lot into that, because when you do, you start fires and you ignite that part of you that shouldn't be ignited till you're married, And so if you get a man that's doing that, you got to ask yourself, why? Is it because he wants it? Normally when guys do that, that is what they want. You want someone that honors you, though, that's going to see you special enough to hold that part off until he makes it official for life. If you find a man that can do that, you got a good one. You know, that don't mean you just marry him because he does that, but I'm saying that is a big thing. So if you find that somebody just talking about sex all the time, you kind of got to ask yourself, like, why? You know, start asking questions to yourself. Why is he saying that? Why is he talking about that? We're not even talking about anything around that, but he brought this up. Like you got to kind of ask yourself those questions. Like, there's valid questions. And when you ask the questions, you'll know the answer right away. Don't try to think for a guy and be like, well, maybe he's asking because he don't know. The fact that he asking because he do know. And if he needs the answers to sexual questions, he needs to go talk to another man about it, not a woman. You know, like there's just, you know, sometimes guys have ways of kind of sneaking things in to try to throw something up in there, like, you know, and so that in hopes that a woman will take the bait, and now they're on that conversation, and then that conversation turns into an opportunity in real life, and then now you're in a position you don't want to be in, and you know, so you gotta kind of watch for that. You gotta reserve those conversations for where those conversations need to be, or else you're going to open up a can of something that you probably don't even want to do, that may produce results that you don't even want, you know? So I hope I answered the question. There's another one up here. Question. Shekinah. Hope I said that right. A lot of men felt let me start again. A lot of men felt I was the one, or I was wife material. How can so many say that? Okay. Let me answer that to the best of my ability. You kind of got to, if I'm looking at that, I'm saying this. What is his definition of wife material? Because the definition of wife material is in the Word of God, okay? I'm telling you, I stood on scriptures, Proverbs 18:22, Proverbs 19:14. He that find a wife, find a good thing, attain favor from the Lord. The other one says, house and riches are inheritance of father, but a wise, understanding, and prudent wife is from the Lord. I used to tell the Lord that all the time. Lord, thank you for my wise, understanding, and prudent wife. That's wife material, okay? The Bible, for me, the Bible defined what wife material is. Like, I got tired of trying to define it, you know? I'm like, okay, the Lord made it. Let me go to him and see what it is, you know? It's in Proverbs 31. Like, I looked at that stuff and like, okay, Lord, I want that. If you got that laid out, if you making virtuous women like that, I want that. So I'm going to see what the words say about it, you know? So, you know, I think wifey material, whatever, it's thrown around a lot, you know, but it's almost, you got to ask yourself that question again. Why is this guy saying that? You know, does he know what that means? Or get bold and ask him what it means. What do you mean by wifey material? Like, what, you know, ask him, you know, because everybody that says that, they have different definitions. And if it's not like my wife, wifey material, she had her own life that she was living. So wifey material to me is, it was based on, catered to, and custom fit for what I wanted. And so really, like I say, that word has been thrown out so much, and the enemy uses it to make people feel bad and like they're not enough and all that kind of stuff. And so, like I say, when guys start saying that kind of stuff, usually, and I can't speak for all, but usually it's a way to get out of a situation or out of a relationship. Because when I start talking about, when I started bringing up the word wife or wifey, it was letting my wife know that I want you to be that. So I wasn't having a whole bunch of side conversations of wifey material, what it is, what it isn't. Like it becomes trivial, and it covers up what really needs to be talked about. Like, are you the person for me or not? You know. So I hope that answers that. And there's a couple more questions here. Okay. I guess I'll answer one more because I think it's about time for me to get off here. Like, why say you're trying to cuddle when I already told you ain't no dudes allowed in my crib? So I understand what you're saying, but I think in the end of that, that's where those uncompromising standards that you have to hold to those, because a guy, he'll keep trying for what he wants, whether that's good or bad. He'll keep trying. And if eventually you open that door and say, you know what, come on over, come on through, then you're finding yourself in a place doing what you didn't want to do. And then that just opens up the door for just other things and wrong relationships, all kinds of stuff. So you can't base it on what the guy is doing, what he's not doing, why they say certain things, why they're not saying certain things, because the truth is they're going to keep trying. As much as if my wife would have told me no, man, I was going to keep coming after what I wanted. And if she gave me an absolute no, of course I would have rolled out. But No, I ain't talking about sex. I'm talking about being with her. So I was going to keep coming and showing her, like, look, hey, you for me, I want you, you know what I'm saying? I want you in my life, you know what I'm saying? So you have to keep your standard. Like, you can't bend, because if you do, that's going to tell that guy that you want to, or it's okay now. You know what I'm saying? So hold your standard. If you don't want to cuddle with them, don't cuddle, and then stop answering the phone, you know? Why do men that I meet play so many games? It's probably because they're not the one for you. Because the one for you, they're not going to play games. I didn't play games with my wife. I went for what I wanted. If they're playing games, that ought to tell you something, that they're not serious. So now it's up to you if you're going to continue to play the games and allow him to, or you're going to move on and not have them in your life. If you don't know what they want and they're not being straight up, then they're not for you, because a real guy, real man, they're going to tell you what they want. Welcome back, my wife. Woo! Come over.
Oh, he's so funny. All right, ladies. So I hope you guys enjoyed everything he was talking about. I was listening. Great job, babe. I kind of just want to talk real quick, and I'm going to get off. We're going to get off of here. I heard a lot of the questions about kind of what he just asked about the counterfeits, why so many guys saying I'm wife material. It seems like it's still not working out. And the one about, what was the last question you just said?
It was, hold on, I'm going to go back
just
up
from
to
a woman. Oh, play so many games.
So many games.
Okay, yes. I just want to say something about that real quick before we jump off of here. Yes, that happened to me a lot before I met my husband. It was a lot of games, a lot of counterfeits, a lot of men who just wanted sex or would pretend like, oh, I'll be abstinent for you, but it wasn't their true conviction. So I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'll talk to a guy who was like, I'm going to be abstinent for you. I never thought about it that way before, but you're worth it. So I was like, okay, and then the problem was when we got in that situation, I call it situation because it wasn't a real relationship, but he was trying really hard. But when we got in that relationship, he kept trying to push those boundaries. Even though he said, I'll do it for you, that conviction in him was not strong enough for himself and for God. So though he said that, he kept trying to push the boundary. I just had to say two things. This ain't going to work because you're saying that, but really it's just to get me. And the enemy, we haven't talked too much about Satan, but the enemy of your soul, he loves to say one thing and to get you thinking, oh, he's going to change. Oh, he's doing it for me. And then you find yourself in a situation because that conviction isn't real for him. And yes, it could be a conviction that is real for somebody, but they put themselves in a compromising situation and then you still fall. And that's why we talk about that too, and about, setting those boundaries for yourself and not letting them in your house and all that kind of stuff. But as far as I've had a ton of men, and I was sad about it at first, say, you have everything I want in wife, or you're wife material, or, you have it all, or, all these wife-worthy things that, we wait to hear, but then it didn't go anywhere. And so that's why when he talks about just knowing who you are, and if you're confused, 2 fingers, like goodbye, because you don't have time for games. You know who you are. And he's said it great. I'm going to get off of here, is that you will know when a man wants you. You will know. It won't be all these questions.
You ain't got to guess about it.
Right. And so that's why I stopped dating, y'all. I got to a point where I was like, I'm good. I'm tired of the counterfeits, tired of the liars. I'm tired of people trying to play games. Lord, I give my heart to you. I give this part of my life to you. And then that is, after a while, it took time. Mine wasn't immediate, quick like his. It took years, but it was to the point where I didn't feel like going out with counterfeits. I just wanted to trust the Lord. And so because of that, as you know, God brought him. But it's okay to be like, Lord, I'm tired of the games. And it's okay. I think Brittany said it, like, all the guys looking at you, or it seems like no one's pursuing you. You have to be okay with that. I had to get to okay with the point, like, the Lord is hiding me right now. He's hiding me. It's okay if they're not pursuing me. It's okay if it seems like nobody checking for me. He is hiding me for the right one. It may take some time, but it's worth the wait. So that's all I got. You can close it out. You've been doing such a great job.
I think it was, somebody said something. Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't another question.
Oh, cool.
But if you have more questions, make sure you put them on here. We'll answer them.
For sure.
And, man, this was fun. Awesome. It's one of those areas that it's a big area, because what do you hear people talk about so much? Wanting to be with somebody. What do you see on TV, movies, romantic comedies, somebody with somebody? Come on, somebody snuggled up, whatever, Yeah. But you have to begin to take your life back and say, you know what? I'm going to trust God. I'm going to enjoy my single life.
Yeah.
And if you want marriage, get in faith about it. Start preparing yourself. And he has somebody. Don't give in to the pressure of what you see other people doing, and everybody but you got somebody. I'm telling you, if you trust God for it, then it's coming. Like there's, and you can't figure out how it's gonna come. Don't try to help him. I didn't know how she came. Was coming. It's happening, like out the blue, out the blue. And for you guys that don't know the story, we might have to get on here and tell it one day. But he did it. I know he did it. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was him. Mm-hmm. His hand was on it. Nobody could have ever did it. Like, that's how I want it.
Yeah.
So I can look back and say, God did that. And I believe that our testimony is proof that it really was him. Like I said, we got tons of stories. So just make sure that, let the games go. Believe people when they show you who they are. Ask questions.
And don't make excuses for them.
Yeah, don't make excuses for people, because you know what? God can take care of them. God is a big enough God to take care of that person without you in their life. So don't feel bad that you got to let them go. You got to walk away if it's the wrong person, or you've been in a relationship or a situationship that you're supposed to have been getting out of. Mm-hmm. You know what? You got to do what you got to do, because there's something for you. And you don't want to hold that up being still in something that's not for you, because of whatever reasons, Believe people when they tell you. Just trust and know that God has somebody for you that will pursue you and let you know that they want you. And they're going to be what you want them to be in terms of a man of God, have certain standards for their life. They're going to honor you above all else. Those kind of things that I talked about tonight. So, and
I know, ladies, coming from your perspective, you might say, man, that sounds impossible, or I never met a man like that, or I don't even know anybody in my life that has a man like that. The truth is, it is possible. I always say, if God got to bring a man from Mars, he'll do it just for you. He brought him from across the country just for me. So just let that be an encouragement to you that, yes, it is a rare thing that we have, but God majors in rare miracles.
That's what he do.
So that's why you have to trust God. That's why it's so important that he's your lifeline, because he has to do something like this. He's the one that's going to do it. So don't look at the situations around you and be like, man, I don't know no man like that. You probably don't, but God does. So trust the Lord. He has somebody special for you if you're willing to wait. And when you get that, you're going to be like, wow, God, seriously? Man, okay, it was worth it all that time. So just trust the Lord. We love you guys. We just wanted to hop on here and just give you something special tonight. I know you guys hear from me all the time, so I figured it'd be good to hear from a male's perspective. And that's pretty much all we got for you. So that's about it.
That's it. So we just pray blessings over you all, ladies.
Yes, for sure.
That God will get in and help you in your situation, that he'll meet you in your prayer time. As you start to or continue to get in the Word of God, that he'll meet you right there, that he'll fulfill you all by himself and make you whole. Yep. And as he does it, you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to experience, you know, what wholeness feels like. So we pray that over you guys. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, ladies. So that's it for tonight. A great night. And we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to y'all.
Bye.
Love y'all.